It's Friday. Today, we're going to just wrap up the week, kind of see where we are. I'm feeling a little bit like the topic of ennui, Ennui, which can be translated into English as boredom, world weariness, possibly failure, and just general exasperation with life. Can you relate to any of that?
I can. Currently, I'm thinking why they say that I can't have my cake and eat it. Have you ever heard that expression? I don't even know what that means.
Well,
Probably
what it
that I'm a
means is,
failure.
no, it's good. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like when you see a cake, it seems so beautiful and so delicious and so wonderful. You just enjoy staring at it and you imagine how wonderful it will be to taste it and to have it. And then you eat it and it's gone. And it wasn't as wonderful as what you imagined it would be. So that's how it is with relationships or jobs or stuff you want to buy. Like you see these great shoes and you think it's going to be so amazing having these shoes and I'm going to look so good in these shoes. Then you buy the shoes and then you have the shoes and then they just become just shoes or marriage or a job.
No, I thought it different. First, I thought that it means, this is an expression, it's called idiom or a metaphor, I don't know. And I thought it doesn't make any sense because if it's your cake, why can't you eat it? And yeah, and you say that you eat it and you like disappointed because it's not so good as you thought before. But I think if you now while we're on it, I think that if you ate it, I mean you don't have any cake more, it's gone, right? You no longer have it. And
Oh,
that's
that's,
why
yeah,
you can't have it because you already ate it. I don't know, it's mind
yes.
cluster. But both words would be rude, so I'm not going to proceed.
Oh, cluster F.
Mind F
Yes.
also.
Oh, mind F. Okay. Yes.
Conundrum, politically correct would be.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
I first started with this note because I feel very discouraged. Sometimes every man sometimes have these days when he considers himself a failure. I don't know about women.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I look at some people that are my friends. They have marriages that are intact. They have big houses. They have dogs. They have cars. They have a lot of groceries. They have children that visit them. They have uh, quite a bit of leisure. I mean, I know you can't really look into the life of another person because you can never exactly know what's going on, but that stuff looks good to me. Or I think about women that went to the very same university I went to, University of Texas in Austin. It's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful education. The campus is filled with amazing people that you could date or have a relationship or marry. And, I just picked the wrong guy. So I put uh, husband number one through dental school. We did that. And then I thought, I think I'll move on to something different. I'm going to go abroad and try somebody that's not from America. I mean, that seems like a reasonable idea. Like, you already tried Texas. So then, I don't want to call it a divorce. I want to call it a not so successful marriage number two. So, and then people will talk to me and they'll say, you are so interesting. Like, it, your life must be amazing. Has anyone ever told you that?
But my life? No, my
No,
life
no.
is a
I mean,
disaster zone.
no, no. What I mean is you have a Mercedes, right? Don't you have a car? Or you
Yeah,
have
but
some.
it's not exactly Mercedes, but yeah, that means I have a loan. And
No, well, I
anyway,
mean,
so
it could be a Toyota, maybe it's a Kia. I don't know. Maybe it's a used
it's a
Volvo.
BMW.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I once, when I was in college, I I I like I've always liked Jaguars as cars, but I saw this Saab, Saab, or maybe it was a Volvo. I thought, oh, it'd be so amazing to have a Volvo because I have all these wrong ideas about life. Perhaps our subscribers should go back and watch our episode. Perhaps I should go back and watch up the episode, Everything You Think Is Wrong. I thought, it'll be amazing to have a Volvo. And I'm a college student. Do you know how much car repairs are on Volvos?
They're not. Oh, okay. When you were a college student, yes.
No, I don't mean just the time. I just mean Volvos are expensive to maintain. And, I was, working in the graduate school library, making extra money just to pay, my tuition, room, and board. And I decided I'm going to get a Volvo. and the fellow I was with at the time said, I don't think that's a good idea. And I said, well, I don't care what you think. I'm going to buy it. So I got some money and I saw this person selling a Volvo and bought the Volvo. And I think it was like kind of cream colored. I looked great in it. That's the main idea, is I should look great in the car. So we're going for a ride outside of Austin, and the car is breaking down. And you know how when a person looks at you with that look, I told you so? I just cleared my throat and I said, well, I'm returning the Volvo. And the person said, well, you can't return it. I go, I will return it. So we somehow got a mechanic to come tinker on it a little bit and got it back to Austin. And then I contacted the people that I bought it from. I said, yeah, I really enjoyed having this Volvo for 3 days, but I really feel that the Volvo is not for me, and I would like for you to buy it back. Of course, you may take off the 3 days that I used it. And they took the car back. And then I felt like a complete failure because I was not able to fulfill my Volvo dream. It's a true story.
I don't know. What do you do? I mean, what do you do when you feel like a failure?
Well, one is drink, have a drink, kind of reflect on it or kick back, or maybe go talk to a stranger at a bar. No, it depends on what kind of failure. Like, I'm just throwing ideas out there. And, our subscribers are also free to reveal that they're also failures. I mean, they don't have to say that, but they could also share with us their failure stories. So, one of the things is, are you really a failure, or are you really just bored, or are you in a cocoon stage where you feel like you're depressed and you're just gathering energy for the next phase? Like, I gave up on being happy a long time ago because I used to equate happiness with success, and I was a failure at being happy. So I gave up on being happy. That's a big thing to give up, Give up on being happy. And I would sometimes share this little secret plan I had with a couple of my lady friends. They go, gosh, you're so young to do that. I could never give up on being happy. And I just said, yeah, because you're married, you have a huge house, you have dogs, you have 4 cars, your kids visit you. But, I actually gave up on being happy and decided just to go for peace. So you just try to find peace. Just try to find peacefulness. Try to find something that's not chaotic. Try to find something that's not insane. Try to find something that's not overly expensive. And just kind of tread water. So when you're in the ocean or you're out swimming, some people are trying to get somewhere, like, I'm going to swim to the other side, or look at that big raft out there. I'm going to swim to the raft. Like, the raft is way, way, way far out there, a big wooden raft, but I'm going to swim there. Or I'm going to date this person. I'm going to get this house. I'm going to buy that car. So I gave up on being happy, and I thought, I'm just going to just swim to the raft. And then also I realized I didn't have the strength to swim to the raft. And so I just call that treading water, where you're in the water and you just kind of paddle your feet and flap your arms, but you're not really going anywhere. Do you ever feel like that? You're moving your feet, you're moving your arms, you're going to work, you're doing stuff, you're buying groceries, you're spinning your wheels, but you're not going anywhere. You're a failure.
Yeah, because there's, I don't know, you confuse movement with action. So basically you're moving, but you're not achieving anything.
Yeah, I mean, for example, yeah. Like, I mean, you,
no,
yeah, I mean, like,
I've given up hope for happiness as well. But I still do hold out hope that I can feel better.
Yes. Okay, we encourage any listener who's feeling very depressed to contact your provider. Please don't take these episodes too seriously.
I think we should rate our depression on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, I'm depressed about 9 right now, but maybe this afternoon will be easier for me. I'll scale down to 5. I don't know.
Because you'll be out of work.
So how are you? Like, your question, how are you today? I'll be depressed like about 5 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I learned to deal with this. I cope and get brief moments of pleasure. I don't know why, but when we speak, I feel a little bit better, even now.
Because that's a human being talking to you and listening. It's very hard to find.
I don't know what you are anymore. You could as well be Alexa, for all I know.
No, I'm not Alexa. I'm in Texas.
Yeah, but if you were, I mean.
I'm Telexa. No.
Is Texas even in the United States?
Well, I was reading some more about it, and actually it was its own republic. Like, the first 13 colonies that broke away from England, that said, no, we're not going to pay taxes. We're going to be our own country. You guys can just go do your own thing. We're going to be our own country. So the first 13 colonies, all the land was there, and they came together and they formed, the United States with the Constitution and the 3-part government and all that good stuff. But other parts of the United States, I was actually just reading this yesterday. Thomas Jefferson, who was one of the authors of the Declaration of Independence, a foremost intellectual, who, by the way, owned slaves. But he decided that the future land that was going to be acquired, because, like, once you have power, you need more. It's just never enough. And he decided that the future land was going to be laid out on some lines, so some of the future states should have a straight line so they could survey it easier. So he was, an architect, a writer, a slave owner, a president. He had his mansion Monticello, and he took John Locke's ideas and rewrote them for the United States. Locke was saying, life, liberty, and land. Life, liberty, and happiness. Yeah, and then Jefferson. No. Locke was life, liberty, and land, and life, liberty, and property. And what Jefferson wrote in for the United States is, life, liberty, and happiness. So, he had his ideas, but during the time of the Louisiana Purchase, where Jefferson had the opportunity to buy everything west of the Mississippi, Lewis and Clark were exploring Mississippi River and, sending information to Washington, D.C., or wherever Jefferson was. And they said, well, why don't we just get some of that land? And, we're going to just take everything west of the Mississippi. So the Louisiana Purchase, gave the United States of America everything west of the Mississippi. So some of those states slowly became part of the United States. But at the time, 1845, they started looking at Texas and saying, man, Texas looks pretty good. They got all kinds of stuff down there. And then they wanted to, annex or incorporate or take in Texas. Texas was a republic because Texas had already rebelled and thrown off the yoke of Mexico. So Texas was already pretty badass and feeling like, do not mess with Texas. That's one of the slogans that's on bumper stickers of cars. Don't mess with Texas. So when Texas was brought into the United States, it was already 1845. And then the last two states were Alaska and Hawaii. And do you know who designed the Alaskan flag? A little Russian kid. Well, he was part Indian and part Russian. Like the Alaskan flag has these little stars on it. It was designed by a Russian. How does that make you feel?
Stunned. I've never ever read about it before.
Have you thought of designing a flag?
No, I don't know what to say. I've never seen Alaska's flag. But maybe.
Well, there's something to go on. There's something to go on living for. After we hang up, you can Google the Alaskan flag, and
is it good? I mean, the Alaskan flag, is it any good?
Well, of course it's good. It was designed by a Russian. It's blue.
It's toxic these days. Just keep in mind, because anyway, why is it? I mean, I'm glad it's good.
No, it's very nice. The guy was not pure Russian. He was half Russian and half of that land, an indigenous fellow. And
I don't want to scare all our subscribers.
Our subscribers.
The Alaskan flag is Russians' invention.
No, it's not an invasion. They had a contest. It was a democratic process where, you know how democracy works and contests
Absolutely.
work. Certain people win, but a person who won the contest, it was a very pretty blue, light blue, and it has some little stars on it, and it's really quite a lovely flag.
Is it like the best flag in the U.S. in your opinion?
Oh no, Texas is the best flag because the best flag is the Lone Star. It's red, white, and blue. It's the Lone Star, and that's got to be the best flag.
What then Alaskan? It makes Alaskan's flag second the best.
I don't know. I like blue. I like the color blue. The color blue's pretty nice. But I was once up in Portland, Oregon, at this interesting bar called 10 Barrel. They had just built a patio up on the roof. It rains a lot up in Oregon and Washington. That's where Ralphie Boy lives. Anyhow, we were waiting for a table. I was with my daughter. We were chit-chatting with a couple people standing there. And this one fellow was he goes, well, you're from Texas? I go, yeah, I'm wearing a Texas t-shirt or a sweatshirt or something. He goes, well, he's been to all of the states of the United States except for one. I go, really? Well, where are you from? He goes, well, I'm from Texas. I go, well, what are you doing here in Oregon? He goes, have you heard of the Oregon Trail? So there were Conestoga wagons. There was the gold rush going out to California and people going up to Oregon. So, being a part of the United States, it's always about conquest, getting more, having more, subjugating, natives. Now that we conquered the continental United States, we got some territories, but now we got to go whoop up on other countries. But let's not talk about whooping up on anyone. Do you know that Alaska also has polar bears
Which
and
one?
totem poles?
Poles? Like in the country?
Totem pole. It's like a carved wooden statue. It's like a carved head and then a carved face, then a carved eagle. Not Polish, but a totem,
Okay.
Totem, is like a big wooden statue carved out of a tree trunk. And it tells the history of the family who is carving it. Have you ever carved or used a chainsaw on a tree?
No, but I've carved with a knife. The spoon, I guess, I've tried to make unsuccessfully, so I essentially gave it up, and eventually I gave it up and then took the iron one.
Well, you carved a tree with a spoon? With a spoon?
No, I've tried to make a spoon out of a wooden block.
Oh, yeah, that didn't make any sense.
I thought that would make great totem pole.
Yeah.
I don't know what they look like, but mine would never look great. Like
Yeah,
a
well,
huge wooden spoon.
yeah, well, some people have their own summer land where they go to a little summer cabin or they go to a little summer cottage or they go to a mountain resort or they go to some lake property. So this is the time, summertime, when people escape the city, they take a little vacation, they go on a road trip, and they just try to get away from it all. And, when we go back to the word depression, like
Before we go back, can you tell me more about totem flagpole?
It's not a flagpole. A flagpole is a metal pole that you hang a flag on. A totem pole, like put your hands together, imagine that you're hugging a bear.
Okay.
Is everyone doing that? Michael, are you doing that? Put your hands together. Imagine you're hugging a bear. Tony, come on, Tony. So a totem pole is about the size of hugging a bear, and it's like a really tall bear. So you would carve what you want at the base, maybe, and this would be related to your ancestors or your family. So my ancestors are Italian and also from Mexico and Spain and also Wales, Wales. So if I was going to carve a totem pole, I would carve things that would represent my ancestor family. So maybe I would have a bowl of spaghetti, or maybe I would have things that are part of our family, like there are many teachers, there are many preachers, there's many artists, there's lawyers, there's people that love to cook. So if I was going to make a modern totem pole, suppose I was going to get together with a totem pole carving artist who has experience carving wooden spoons. Maybe I would say, hello, I need some help carving my family totem pole. Could you work on the part here? I need a spoon because we like pasta. And you'd say, sure, I'm going to carve the spoon. So, your skills, your failed skills at carving the spoon, perhaps the timing was wrong. You were not with the right situation. And now you have the opportunity to participate in totem pole carving.
I don't know if I carved totem pole, I would probably start with the bear, because you gave me this idea that I should put out my hand as though I'm hugging a bear, and and I would have a bear, and I would that be okay?
Yes, that would be wonderful. Actually, a month or so ago, I was wanting to start a Tai Chi class, which is kind of like moving yoga. And I kind of accidentally, or maybe there are no accidents, stumbled upon this very small group of people that were doing Tai Chi in a park, a brand new park that Dallas had just commissioned, or so they're doing Tai Chi, and I looked at these people. I kept thinking, like, look at that guy there. He looks like a bear. He was like tall, and he looked like a bear, and his arms were barely moving. And I kept thinking, this is a bear doing Tai Chi. And then there was another guy. He looked like kind of like a road runner, like those birds that run across the road real fast. And then there were these two women that kind of looked like squirrels. So yeah, I've actually seen a man that looked like a bear.
Why did you think natives like? I'm still on the subject of totem poles. Why do you think they liked carving totems?
Well, because I think as a human
they try
being,
to replace. They try to have the religion or idols.
No. I think man, or let's just say humans, man, has always used art. Yeah, art. Men and women have always used art to express something about their reality. So, some people make crosses to say that they're Christian, and some people, have the Star of David, and some people have the third eye. We use design to represent something about our reality. And for our subscribers, this episode was not rehearsed. This is completely made up on the spot. But, I think that the reason we make totems is because we're trying to express something about our reality, and also to leave something for posterity, which is those who come Biafra. Now, some of those who come after us. So, like I like to write. So I write journals and poems and stories, and I collect photos, and I give these poems and stories and photos to nieces and nephews, and it's part of the human desire not to be forgotten when you die, not to be depressed again.
So basically, totem pole is a wooden sculpture, right? Because if you don't have granite, okay, you made it out of wood. I see.
Yeah, so maybe a tribe or a group of people that settled in an area might say, oh, we need to tell the story. So some people are not doing writing. They are doing carvings, like carvings on the cave walls and painting on cave walls. So like some of the non-writing cultures, they arrive at a land, and then they have the desire to tell the story of how they got to that land.
Yeah, so my spoon wouldn't qualify then. I thought that I meant little small spoon, just which I make out of a piece of wood, but totem pole is totally different.
No, I'm going to have a totem pole. You're going to come just carve the small spoon. That's all I need is a small spoon. Now, if I'm making a modern totem pole in Texas, a modern totem pole about how my family came to Texas and what's important to us, suppose mine was going to be very modern because it's the year 2023. And maybe I need a spoon. Okay, why are you resisting coming to Texas and carving a spoon? That's what I want to know.
I refuse to answer.
I think that's an excellent answer. And, now that we are literate and we write, if you make a totem pole, out on your land, let's suppose you chop down a tree trunk and you start carving on it a little bit, you could even carve some words into your totem pole. You could type in, I refuse to answer.
Speaking of which, of words, I know that you like willow, because there are all sorts of willow, including Texas, and I was wondering if willow any good for carving.
Willow sticks are good for whipping little boys. Willow wood willow wood. Did you ever see a willow tree?
Yeah, they're really small. I mean, they're like not really small, but
The
really
trunk is
there are
narrow
many
and all the
branches.
branches are,
Hmm.
yeah, the trunk is narrow and all the branches are thin and wispy. So,
But
you
maybe
know,
I'll
it's
still
hard.
be able to carve out a spoon out of one branch.
Are there any willow trees around where you live or on your land?
Yes. Why?
Okay. You know, if you're going to go out to your land or your summer property and like carve this weekend or soon, you got to look around and see what you've got. So, as far as I know, you've got a huge chainsaw, you have an axe, you have a yoga mat, you have a pot-bellied stove. We call it pot-bellied stove that you can put wood in. What kind of wood are you putting in the stove?
Birch?
Birch.
Is there such wood?
Yeah, birch. I love birch trees. I love birch trees.
Aren't there? I mean, aren't there any birch where you live?
Well, yeah, but Robert Frost has a beautiful poem about the birch trees. Like, you know, yeah, there's willow trees, you know, around where I live. The willow tree is not planted currently. It's a tree that was popular maybe 50, 60, 70 years ago. So when I drive around East Dallas, there's some very old properties, you know, old by the standard of Texas, and some of them will have willow trees, or they'll have magnolias. There's huge magnolia trees. Like, I think that's bluebonnet is the state flower, but I'm saying the magnolia is huge. I'm not sure how it is for carving, but well, you know, the expression.
Why? I'm not sure about magnolia, but white birch is a good wood for a fireplace.
Oh, that sounds good. It sounds good for like sitting by a fireplace and having like an Irish
Makers.
coffee. Like, yeah, Maker's Mark in your your coffee.
And some bourbon and hot tea.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, you know, there's another expression, knock on wood.
Yeah, I know.
You
If you want to avoid any what's that?
Bad luck.
Exactly. Or if you've forgotten something and have to go back home, you have to look at the mirror, knock on the wood.
Yeah.
You knew about the mirror, right? Or just second?
No.
Part?
Well, I know there's one thing about
you have to look at the mirror first and then knock on the wood.
I have to look at a mirror. I have to start carrying a mirror around now.
Yeah, well, you have a mirror at home, so if you forget something and you have to go back, you not just knock on wood, you also have a look at the mirror at yourself. I mean.
No, I don't want to look in the mirror.
Well, you have to.
No, because, you know, as we discussed in another episode, mirrors are portals to another dimension.
Oh my God. I just imagined this morning, I guess, I looked at the mirror and I was petrified because for a moment, I had this feeling that someone walks out of it, some man, and I was kind of surprised that he's still in my room.
He's in your room still?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, I'm glad that you shared.
Next time you have a look at the mirror, you make sure nobody's coming out of it.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. And we encourage our subscribers to do that too and share their thoughts with us.